Today, I am going to be speaking from a very vulnerable place and a place from my own pain. Because I had a plan to make a very different video this week with all high energy and razzle dazzle, but a few things happened in my personal life which led to me being very triggered. And all I could do was go to bed and pull the covers over my head with my body full of fear. So first of all, let me just give you a little bit of background about what I'm going through right now. So this week I had 2 jobs, clients cancel on me, and then I had 2 unexpected bills come into my letterbox, and for me that triggers my really deepest wound of survival fear. And when this happens, okay, it's unpleasant for most people, I get that, but when it triggers a really deep wound from your childhood, it's not just a difficult situation. My whole body reacts to it and kind of shuts down. And usually when this trigger happens, my coping mechanism in the past was to make myself feel better. I would grab my phone and dial up, message as many friends as I could find and call up a group and then plan the biggest party night of the week. And that would give me something to look forward to. That would then bring me out of bed and then into that party night. But how that also works is the bigger the trigger, the bigger the party has to be. And oh boy, I could party. I could light up a room. And then alcohol was my way of medicating myself and numbing this fear that was that's stored in my nervous system. So then I would have a wild night, and then the next day feeling so awful, hungover. I would have spent all my money, which the original trigger is usually survival mode, which is related to money, but I would have burnt a hell of a lot of money. I would be really embarrassed about the things that I said and done because I was just going so wild. And it would just send me into, again, a deeper spiral of fear and survival mode and self-loathing. And then I would start it all again. So that got me really trapped in a loop of drinking and using my social life as a coping mechanism. So if you want to come on this journey with me, you're going to need a journal and a pen, and go and make yourself a giant cup of tea and get a cozy blanket, because first of all, we're going to do some inner work to process these emotions, writing them down on paper, asking ourselves some big questions, and then we're going to get on up out of this bed and we're going to move those emotions through our body and release them and turn them into being energized and empowered. So since I've given up drinking, hooray, one of the best decisions I've ever made, it means I have to sit in this triggered, awful fear. And it means that I can't get away from it like I usually would. So This is why I have to bring in these tools. Okay, so step one is I want you to name and describe the event that led to you having this strong reaction. And it's important that you write this down, because if it just churns around in your head, that can lead to that spiraling of thoughts just running on repeat, and that's not helping your nervous system. Step two is, where does this emotion sit in your body and how does it feel? Now, big emotions like fear, anger, sadness, these make an imprint in your body and in your nervous system. And there's the event that happens that causes the emotion, but it's not necessarily about the event. It's about how it stays and gets stored in your body. Okay, step three. Now, this is the difficult part. This is when we start digging into things that are really sensitive. So take care of yourself. It's about peeling back the layers of that situation and looking at how it connects to your deeper wound. If you look at where this type of feeling popped up throughout your timeline and try and trace it back with what is called the golden thread of where you are in your timeline right now, feeling that big emotion, and then trace it back in time. When did you feel this feeling come up in your life? And try to trace it right back to the earliest memory. It's just really important part of the process to identify where this fear comes from, because then we can give it the love and care it needs and the understanding, because then I can see it's a younger version of me who felt scared and confused. And when I can identify and connect the dots, then I can give myself the love I need and the compassion I need to heal it. And then step number 4 is we're going to call in our alter ego or archetype that can help you transform and hold space and be like a very strong, energetic container for this emotion. Your archetypal alter ego that you bring in is not creating more destruction and pain. It's not attacking the people who hurt you, or it's not setting the city on fire. It's coming in with a very clear, grounded, strong, confident energy where they can come into that scene that you described in step 1. They enter that scene and they look at you like, don't worry, I've got your back. But they also turn to you and they can help to give you the guidance that you need and the strength and the power you need to pull yourself out of that situation. So for example, when my survival mode gets triggered, I have an archetype that knows exactly how to hold space and protect me and my children, and that is the wolf. Okay, so that brings us to the last final step, and for this we have to get out of bed and we're going to get moving, so let's go. Okay, so first of all, I like to wear something that makes me feel connected to my archetype. This is my favorite wolf t-shirt. And then I put on my headphones because I want to play my music loud, but I don't want to disturb the neighbors upstairs. And then I light a candle and some incense and just prepare myself for the embodiment exercise. Then I go into a meditative state and imagine my wolf, and I tell her how I've been feeling, and she shares her strength and wisdom, for she is the leader of her pack. She guards her cubs with unwavering devotion. She tells me that she hunts with precision. She can navigate danger, uncertainty, and harsh environments. And this is because she trusts her instincts completely, and she tells me this is what I must do. There can be some strong emotions that come up during this phase, but I like to let them flow through me. And then we stand up and get ready to shift this energy through our body. I like to use this tapping and patting my body down just to come into my body, because when I get triggered, my body gets very numb. And by doing this, I feel like I come back into myself and into the present moment. And it makes me feel connected to my body. And then I take a strong, grounded stance, sinking down into the ground to make myself as stable and grounded as possible. Taking deep breaths in and out, slowly bringing that energy up. Just slowly. And then building up the momentum with the breath and the movement, gently shifting that energy from my body and out. And then with momentum and strength, pull it down through my body and into the earth. Circulate that energy through your body and out. Release it, kick, punch, whatever you have to do. Let out some noise, scream, shout. This is a great way to get the energy through your body and out. And then I soften up, gently bringing it back down. Taking all the parts that I've explored, my shadow, my light, my wolf, my wounded inner child, giving it the love it needs, bringing my center and core back. And just really finishing with as much self-love as I can to myself. I hope this helped you today, and please feel loved and seen.